Israel's story didn't begin in 1948. It began thousands of years ago when the Jewish people were still living in their indigenous homeland, the land of Israel. For centuries, through peace and war, foreign domination and self-rule, infighting and union, here they farmed, worshipped, raised families, lived and died. Countless archaeological finds attest to the ancient Jewish presence in the land. When Jews revolted against Roman rule in 70 CE, Rome crushed the rebellion, destroyed the temple in Jerusalem, massacred many Jews and sent many more into exile and slavery, though some remained in their native land. The Jews never left, and historical evidence proves it. Throughout the centuries, visitors to the Holy Land, from curious travellers to crusaders, confirmed that Jews were residents. And throughout Europe, North Africa and Asia, Jewish communities maintained their connection to the Holy Land. They faced Jerusalem as they prayed, they sang next year in Jerusalem as they celebrated Passover, they travelled to Jerusalem and wept over its devastation. Wherever they lived in the diaspora, the land of Israel remained central to Jewish identity. In the late 19th century, a time of rising nationalist movements, political Zionism emerged as the movement for self-determination in the Jews' ancient homeland. Despite inhospitable conditions under centuries of Ottoman neglect, more diaspora Jews began returning to Israel in large numbers and joining those whose families had never left. Jews constituted a majority of Jerusalem's population by the mid-1880s. They purchased land from malarial swamps to dry desert and transformed it into productive farmland through their labour. They revived Hebrew, the ancient tongue that in the diaspora had been used in prayer and study, as a language of everyday life once more. Following the Ottoman collapse after World War I, the British took over administration of the land. Despite expressing support for a Jewish national home in the 1917 Balfour Declaration, the British changed their minds and began restricting Jewish immigration and land ownership in response to Arab opposition and violence. Yet, the Jews continued building up their land. They established towns, hospitals and universities. They re-established Jewish national life in their indigenous land. In 1947, when the new United Nations proposed partitioning the land into two states, one Arab, one Jewish, although Jews were disappointed that the proposed state would be such a small area of the original mandate and wouldn't include Jerusalem, Jewish leaders accepted. Palestinian Arab leaders rejected the opportunity to establish a state of their own, something that had never before existed if the Jews would get one as well. In 1948, when the Jewish state declared independence for the first time in millennia, 5 Arab nations launched a war in an attempt to destroy it. They failed. The reborn Jewish state was a haven for Jews facing persecution, hardship, and even expulsion from the nations where they had dwelt, all across the Middle East and North Africa, Ethiopia, and the Soviet Union. Zionism is the greatest success story of indigenous self-determination of the 20th century. A people scattered to the ends of the earth had come home, never to be uprooted again.